Hey guys, today we are going to look at in a very quick tutorial. We're going to look at how to use Scrapy to scrape Amazon. All right, that's a tough one. We're going to try and scrape Amazon reviews today, and let's see how we can pull that off using Scrapy. It's very rudimentary. Remember that Amazon. It's not easy to scrape an Amazon or a Yelp or a Reddit. You will get blocked pretty easily even if you do scrape it. There are measures to do that. At the end of this presentation, I'm going to give you a hint of how to overcome all those things. None of that is impossible, but these are the basics of using Scrapy. In this, very quickly, you'll learn how to use Scrapy to create a spider, how to use it to scrape data, which is a separate thing, very easily using CSS Selector. So if you have jQuery understanding, if not, you'll probably have to read up on it, but I'm going to quickly introduce how simple and easy it is. Most of the learning will happen pretty much on moment one over here. And also how to extract the data, how to convert that into a dictionary, and we'll also learn how to take that review data and hopefully can put it into a CSV file as well. Okay, so follow me along. It will not be a perfect tutorial because that'll, if you really want to optimize the code, instead of this being a 15-minute or probably a 7-8 minute tutorial, it'll become a 1 hour tutorial. So we're not going to do that now. This is only to quickly understand Scrapy and all the different aspects of it and understand how scraping really works very quickly. Okay, so let's just now freshly go find um, something on Amazon .com to scrape. All right, so maybe we can scrape one of these. Let's see, what do I want today? New cell phones, Amazon basics. Oh, shouldn't be taking so long. I get nervous when I get you've been given a choice. Okay, let's look at some reviews. This one seems to have a decent set. Let's just random click on something. Okay, here we go. Okay, so Amazon nylon braided USB cable, charger, iPhone charger cable, and it has a bunch of reviews. So we're gonna go there and see that and see if we can scrape this. These are bad reviews. All right, so what do we care? We're gonna scrap these bad reviews, guys. Um, did I say scrap? I meant scrape. Scrape, not scrap. They should scrap this product. We are not scrapping it. All right, so we're gonna scrape it. How we do it is import Scrapy. Very simply save this as a file. Let's call amazon.py in a folder. I hope you've installed Scrapy. If not, just go to scrapy.org. And just one line, simple, and you'll be able to install it. And after that, just save this anywhere. And then we're going to import Scrapy, and Scrapy expects then we're going to inherit the class. So we're going to declare our class with whatever name we want. So let's give it a meaningful name. Let's call it Amazon Scraper. Yeah, Spider, right? It's both. So I'm going to call it that, and but inherit from Spider. Scrapy allows for spidering. Spider dot Scrapy. No, sorry. I think that's the other way around. Scrapy dot spider. All right. Okay. So now you're automatically it expects a couple of things here. I'm not going to go into detail just so that I don't confuse you. Okay. It needs a name. So let's call it something. So I'm going to call it Amazon Scraper or something. Same thing. Then I'm going to call it needs start URL. So you can put all sorts of things over here, but it needs an array of start URLs. For example, you can put a bunch of domains that it's allowed to traverse, right? And you can restrict it to from going to a subdomain, for example, going to an external domain, for example. Right? So I'm going to not do all of that because we're not really spidering. We're just getting one page over here. So this whole power of the Amazon, the Scrapy spider is not really being used here at all. But it is worth. Um, so here we're gonna use an array, open up an array and put the start URL. It could be multiple URLs, but we're gonna just put one. That's all we need right now. Oof, that's a long one. Hopefully that'll fetch the data. If not, we'll have to use some tricks here to do that. So let's see. Okay, so now what happens? You're telling the Scrapy spider to create a spider based on it, go get it. It's done. That's all you need to do. There is no fetch call, none of that. It automatically does this and it expects a particular function defined, which is you want to define a function called parse. That's what you can change this, but this is where it comes by default. It wants to send you the data here the moment the object there's a response from Amazon. So here it will give you a response object just like so, and what you do is um, you just do whatever you want with this response object. Now you don't, it's all yours, right? But luckily, instead of using regex and all those rudimentary methods and playing around with the data there, it gives you a CSS selector uh, extraction function. Though it goes something like this. You just say response.css and then you put here in this place, if you know jQuery, any jQuery CSS selector will work. And then you just ask it to extract it just like so, and it does the job for you. How about that? And puts it in an array. How about that? Okay. I hope I've typed it all right. So, but then let's go find it. Let's just start getting reviews. All right. So let's go get some of these reviews. Warning, fire hazard. That's a dangerous reviews. Fun. So I'm just gonna click on that and see, inspect, because I'm looking for the CSS selector. So we're looking at the CSS classes or names defined over here. So if I look at this, uh, review title, this is what I want. If you look at the class over here, it has all sorts of things, a size base, a normal, all that. What you look for is something meaningful because those things don't change. The rest are all defining something internal for them, right? Like, for example, the link has to be normal and not bold or something like that. So, best then look and identify the CSS name which makes the most sense, right? So I'm just going to copy it all. So if I double click, it'll allow me to sort of copy. So I did that. I'm going to take this here and play with it here. So that's the whole CSS class bunch. So I think review title content or review title are the two most meaningful CSS. The rest don't make much sense. It's only defining the colors and stuff like that, the size and stuff. Oops. So I'm just going to remove that. Even the review title content, we can come back to it if it doesn't work. Sorry about that. Just remove that from here to here. Let's just see if this works. Okay. Okay. So the way we define it is in jQuery, we're going to do either a hash if it is an ID of a class, but if it's just a class ID of a division or an element. But if the element has a class name, so it's easier just define that. And in this case, obviously, we're going to have multiple titles, so we're going to run through this. And the class name for that is review title. We can ignore the multiple class thing. You can just pick one class, and that should be enough. And response.css, it'll pass back an array. So let's just put it into an array called reviews. What else are we going to name it? Right? Or review title, I guess. Review title. I'm going to be careful to name it as a plural because this is an array and therefore I need to make sure that I remember that myself, right? And once I do that, extract function I think needs to be closed. All right, so while we are at it, let's go get something else as well. Let's get maybe we get the got the title. Can we get the review itself? Let's see what the review itself looks like. Why not? So, or the review date, right? But let's get the review. Why not? I'm always a little, I want to be doing it. Yeah. So if you look at this whole thing, this whole division here has a beautiful name called review text. Okay. Here we go. Review text. I'm just going to copy review text. That's good enough for me. And I'm going to take that there and put that here. For a second, copy this whole thing. I'm big on that. I don't like to type too much. Cut that, and instead of review title, let's just put it as review text. And here I'm going to put review text just so I know that it is a plural thing. Right. So now what do we have here? We have these two arrays, but they're two separate arrays. They have to be matched together for us to meaningfully query them later on in any way, shape, or form. Right? Because review titles will have a bunch of titles, and review text will have a bunch of those text for the same reviews, but it's like two lines which have no adhesive quality between them. So what we're going to do is join them into a direct dictionary. And there are many methods to do this, but we're just going to use a simple zip command from zip function from Python. And what we'll do is we'll do a for item in zip of review titles, comma, review tags, right? And then we're going to run through and make it a dictionary, okay? And let's call the dictionary of items, all items, okay? All items equals flowery bracket thing, and then here we're going to name it like an associative array. We're going to name it. In this case, I'm going to call it simply title. Okay, so notice a singular, it's not a plural, so that I remember myself when I look at this code later that okay, this is the array, and this is these two other arrays, and this is where the actual item is stored, right? So I'm going to go, and then the item will have that. Item will now have two things because it's all zipped together. So 0 will contain the review title, and so I'm going to call it that, and then I'm going to call the review text, probably call it review text only, item of the first part of the second piece of the array. Okay, so now all items will contain the entire um, the entire um, dictionary of items. Okay, so what we can do then is just yield it back to, I would say yield it back to, sorry, not elf, yield it back to Scrapy. Okay, all items. And let's run this and see what happens, and we can optimize this later. Save this, and I'm going to run it with a simple command, Scrapy, and the command is run spider, because that's the class that we are invoking. And then we are going to call amazon.py. Boom. Okay. Did it run? Okay, so it says service unavailable. This is where the real challenge comes in, because a lot of times you will find this happening. It could be because, okay, let me just double check if my internet is down or something like that. Okay, I think I know what's going on. It's here the user agent's text is not passed, and here you will see that Amazon is refusing to give us a service because we are identified as a spider, right? So we're going to use, I didn't plan to do this honestly, but we're going to use a user agent um, string to try and get Amazon to respond to us as if it will respond to a browser. A user agent string, if you want to go deeper into this, is um, a string that all browsers pass to servers so that they can identify what exact browser name they are, whether they support, based on that, they can figure out if they support certain versions of JavaScript, certain functions. Also, they send out the operating system version. And so, if it is a tablet, for example, or if it is an iPhone or an Android phone, the web server basically can tailor that experience based on that. That was originally why they had invented this mechanism. Um, and now what happens is Amazon and people like that use that to block you. As simple as that. Right. So let's see. I'm hoping that's why it's giving me a response like this. Uh, so let's just see if we can get a user agent string passed. Scrapy has a way to pass that. I think it's minus s if I dash s. So let's just find a good user agent string. Okay. User agent strings list. If I just Google it, there'll be quite a bit. What is my browser has a lot of these user agent strings. So let's find something. Let's say we want to be Mac OS. Why not? This thing is temporarily disabled. Mac OS. Uh, okay, user agent database. For some reason they have. Alright, I'm not able to find from here. I'm just gonna. I think there's something wrong with this particular. Okay, I'm just gonna go to another website. There's a lot of these websites which display user agent strings. Okay, I don't want Galaxy because it'll tailor the content in a different way and it might change. Um, I just want regular. So these are all tablet user agent string, desktop user agent, but Mac OS. So let's say I'm gonna use Mac OS, Chrome OS based laptop using Chrome browser. No, Mac OS Safari. I think they should do. Let me see. They should do. So what I'll do is I might have to disable robots.txt as well. So let's see if this allows that. Okay, pray for me, guys. So minus s tells that I'm going to change a thing user agent string equals. I'm going to paste that whole thing and I'm going to run it. Hopefully 503 error should not happen now. Yes. Woo. Here we go. We got it. We got it. If you look at this very carefully, it is giving me the review text over here, but it's giving me the entire division data. Okay, this can be easily solved. You can see the BRB, other HTML tags. So we need to now remove the HTML tags for this to make sense. Even though this looks like gibberish, because I'm so used to this, I can see the sense in this. So we're very close now. So let's just go back to the code, and I'm very excited. All we need is, so if you look at this piece, it is giving the data, but it's giving with a lot of HTML, right? Because we didn't specify that we need text. And what we can do now is take that HTML and remove all the text, the tags out of it and leave it with the text. The fastest way I know, we can do it using URL parse, and there are many functions inside of Python and Scrapy, but I'm never sure of my version of Python right now, because I'm doing so many tutorials. It's always confusing. So what I'll do is, it'll also, I think, help you if I open and give you the Beautiful Soup library experience here. I already installed Beautiful Soup. It's always there on my system. So if you don't have it, please do. And once you install Beautiful Soup, you can just call it from here like this. Import uh, port PEAUTIFUL soup. This has become a much longer video than I thought, but this was a great challenge, wasn't it? And we learned something today. All right, so now we can invoke Beautiful Soup if I spelled it right here. Okay, so all I got to do is Beautiful Soup has a very simple command called, I think, txt or txt. Let me try both. Txt, and then Beautiful Soup here as well of text. Alright, so I'm saving it and run it. It should give you more meaningful data. Even then, it may not be visible here because all the debug information that it prints out. Yeah, I can see that review text doesn't have the BR anymore. All right, title. You can see the title over here. Okay, let's see if let's just pump this out into a CSV. How about that? So the simple command is output Amazon.csv. You will see a lot more cleaner data, guys, over here. Same thing, and it should tell you that yes, stored CSV feed 8 items in Amazon.csv. If I just open that Amazon.csv over here, pull that into Sublime Text, there you go. Warning, fire hazard. Remember that thing that we saw? Here we go. We got the review text and we got the title. We got it sort of the other way around. That's easy. You can just change the ordering. And these are all the titles and these are all the actual text. You can see there's no gibberish at all. And it's pulling out all the data very clean. Okay, guys. I'm so happy because we learned quite a lot today, which I hadn't planned at all. So, and even after this, Amazon might block you. So I gotta pitch my product here. I'm gonna do that shamelessly because you see the problems here, right? Eventually, because Amazon knows I'm coming from this IP, eventually they'll block you. I might change my IP. I might restart my router. It's very painful to do this in any scalable way. Even if I put on the server, then I'll be in trouble anyway. So what you can do is use a rotating proxy service. So we have a pool of more than a couple of million IP addresses, uh, residential pool, proxy pool, from which we rotate and give you a completely new IP address, completely anonymous and private, every time you request, and we automatically retry it till you get your data, no matter what. Right? You didn't even have to pass the user agent string if you're using the service that we have, right? Because we do that internally for you and we rotate it and give it to you. So I already have this open. I'm the founder of this company, Proxies API. All you have to do if you get an API key from here is, if you see this particular call, you're going to call this endpoint and pass the Amazon URL that you have over here as a URL, as a parameter to that particular endpoint, like that, like example.com over here, and the data is returned to you magically. And all you have to do is obviously pass an API key, which you will get the moment you sign up for free. No credit cards required. You just use your email sign up. In 2 minutes, you'll have your API key. It will entitle you to the 1,000 API calls free per month. No questions asked, no credit card required. And it has all sorts of things. It has session management. We do like 50 other tricks to make sure that we are always able to get the data for you. Right? A few hundred people use us already, and at really high scales, and we have millions literally every week in terms of number of fetches that and API calls that we handle successfully. So Amazon, I hope you learned. If you have any questions, please post. I'm free. I'm happy to answer it. to further sort of optimize this in any way, shape, or form. Thank you guys. Thanks for listening.